Good morning. Good morning. Hi, y'all. It is Stacy. This is Walking in My Shoes. We are loving my veteran this morning. I wanted to say everybody good morning and hope you had a great weekend. Gonna have a little coffee here as we get going this morning. Just wanted to touch base and kind of get us to where we are. Newsletter's going out today. We've had a ton of new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing to the website. We were getting them late last night, so I put it off till this early this afternoon, later this morning. So we'll get that newsletter out. We have a lot of fun things coming up, a lot of good things coming up. Michelle and I had such a great conversation this morning that we want to see how much response there is. We're thinking about doing a virtual caregiver retreat. It'll be spectacular with lots of details to follow on what we're going to do when it comes to that. We're going to finish up this week with our rights. Morning, sunshine. With our rights. Michelle, just make sure you got your fashion sense on that Hazley doesn't tell you. Her 3-year-old granddaughter told her yesterday she was a fashion nightmare. So I just thought that was cute. We're talking about our rights as our morning goes on and finishing up our last in this series of rights and the things that we have a right to do and things that everybody has. And I think that's very kind of interesting when you change this perspective about our rights. So today is you have the right to say I don't know. Okay, first of all, for me, that is tough. I know everything. My mama will tell you that. My children will tell you that. Carl will tell you that. My employers in the past will tell you that. I know everything. I'm one of these people who just think I know everything. And we don't. We don't have every answer. We don't have the answers to everything. And so we have a right to say, you know what, I just don't know. And living with our veteran, a lot of times we get frustrated and we get angry and things get overpowering to us, and the veteran's like, well, what do you want me to do about it? I don't know. Or they say something and they're like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. You have that right to say, I don't know. It is okay not to know. It is okay when you're in a situation and you're overwhelmed and you're like, well, what's going on? And what about this? And what about that? And you start thinking about how am I ever going to get through it? I don't know. I don't know how to get through this today. I don't know how to get through this tomorrow. But we'll figure it out and we'll do it together. You don't have to have the answers today. And you have that right to say, I don't have those answers today. Look, I'm just grateful that my kids finished school before new math came. Okay, I can tell you what 6 times 6 is. Yeah, I can do that for you and tell you, hey, it's 36 because I had to memorize it. I can't tell you how to fill out them little boxes in new math and do all them little squares and all that weird stuff. Because if my kids came to me today and said, Mom, how do you do this? I just would say, I don't know. Memorize your times tables. I mean, that's how I did it, but it doesn't mean that it's how you do new math. But we have that right to say that. When your husband gets triggered when your kids tell them, I don't know, they're kids and they do crazy stuff for 0 reasons. Yeah, we all do that. Why'd you do that? I don't know. I don't know. And sometimes you don't know that answer. Why'd you do it? Well, I did it. It was kind of stupid, but why? I don't know. Well, we we're a lot like our kids. Sometimes we do stuff we don't know why we're doing it. We just do it, and we don't have a specific reason for doing it, and it becomes this. I don't know. It's like, Why the heck did you decide you're going to have this for dinner? I don't know. I took it out of the freezer. We have that right, and we don't exercise that right enough. We're supposed to have the answers to everything. We don't. Especially when we get in a situation where our veteran is like, well, what do you want? We know we don't want arguing, and we know we don't want triggers, and we know we don't want certain behaviors. And so they come in, and we voice that to them, right, all the time. And they're like, well, what do you want me to do about it? Well, I don't know. Well, when you say I don't know, and you have that right, but you don't have a plan, or you don't say, I don't like it when you do this, or I don't want this to go on. Well, what do you want me to do about it? I don't know. Because we don't. We have that right. But to say stuff like, I don't know, as a cop out doesn't work. If it is a specific reaction you don't want anymore, when you're setting your boundaries, if it's a specific thing, and they say, I don't, Carl, for example, he will slam doors. It drives me crazy. It is one of my personal triggers, okay? And so I'll say to him, but why are you doing that? Right? And instead of him saying, I don't know, he says, because it's better for me to let my frustration out by slamming a door than it is by hurting you or doing something else. Okay, so he had a justification. He didn't say, I don't know. But when you want a specific change in a behavior, okay, well, I'm not going to do that anymore, so what do you want me to do? And then you say, I don't know. That isn't helping. When it would have been so much easier for me to say, hey, this is a trigger for me. Why do you do this? Okay, and when he tells me, and then instead of saying, well, you can't do that anymore, and he'll say, well, what do you want me to do? And I'm like, I don't know. It would have been so much easier to say, babe, this is a trigger for me. Can we find something else? And he's like, well, what do you want me to do? I'm not sure, but let's work on it together. Now, wasn't that a better answer than just, I don't know? Because how many times when people say to you, I don't know, do you feel like you're being brushed off or swept under the carpet? Right? Things you legitimately don't have an answer for, you have that right to say, I don't know. You don't know everything. But we're going to get through this together. We're going to come up with a path together. When you say, I don't know, it's on you to somebody else, that's not going to be very successful. First of all, we have to admit that we don't know everything. And that is tough. For me to admit I don't know everything, it is tough. Okay? But when I don't know, aren't we better to find an answer? I mean, I can remember teaching paramedic, and it was so easy. Sorry, this is like way too close. It was so easy for me when somebody came to me with a question and say, well, why do we do this? And for me to just say, oh, I don't know. I never said that. I've said, I don't know, but let's find the answer. When you do that and you preface it, because you have that right to say you don't know, but leaving it hanging there doesn't benefit anybody. It doesn't give you a solution to the problem. We have to have solutions. We can make a problem list till hell freezes over, but without solutions to the problems, there's still problems sitting on a list. So when you say, I don't know, and we all have that right to say that, wouldn't we be better to say, I don't know that answer, but let's work on a solution? I don't know that answer, but let's work on a solution. Now, you've admitted you don't have the answers to everything, but you're willing to find that solution with them to create a better environment. Listing the things that you don't know and you don't know how to fix and you want change, but you don't know how to get it, is just a list of problems. It's not an active solution. So if we don't come up with solutions, we're never going to have anything but a list of problems we don't know how to fix. And a list of problems we don't know how to fix don't go away. When you have one problem and you don't fix it, that problem becomes multiple problems. That problem becomes bigger and more magnified. Right? So kind of think of it as you bring your car home, and when you back out, you notice this little spot of oil on the driveway. Right? And it's saying, like, where did that come from? Oh, I don't know. Well, it came out of your car, right? It came out of the car. But the answer is, I don't know. So now you've avoided it. I don't know. So you're driving it around some more. And now you pull up and you're backing out, and now the spot isn't a drip. It's like this. Where's that coming from? I don't know. You get off, you drive some more. Now you got a bigger spot sitting up in that driveway. Where's that coming from? I don't know. Now you're going to go to town, right? And your motor's going to seize up. And they're going to be like, why did your motor seize up? I don't know. Maybe it had something to do with the oil dripping all over everywhere that you didn't want to address on time one. And I don't know was the answer. Okay? When you get buried underneath, Michelle's so accurate, it does. And when you get buried underneath of all the stuff because you don't look for solutions to the I don't knows, we have a right to say, I don't know. But we also need to come up with a solution. Or we're all going to be stranded on the side of the road in a car that the engine has seized up in because we didn't know where that first oil drip came from. Because we blew it off. We didn't have a solution. We didn't have a plan to find the solution. We may not be able to fix everything. And that is something you have to accept. But we have to look for the solutions. We have to actively look for the solutions. If we don't look for the solutions, then it stays a problem that we never fix until it becomes so magnified that we can't fix it. And that's what's important. We may not be the fixer, but if we don't start finding the path of somebody who can help us fix it and start making the steps to the solution, it's going to become a problem, and the problem is going to magnify itself until you're stranded on the side of the road. And anybody who read my post today about communication, and do you hear me? Yeah, I posted what it was like. And I'm going to put the solutions that we found into that thing. But this list of I don't know. What triggered you? I don't know. No, there is something that triggered you. What was it? I don't know. And I used the example of telling Carl I loved him. Right? I could sit on the couch and lean over and say, baby, I love you, and kiss him, and we'd be fine. I could walk up to him somewhere, or he could walk up to me, wrap our arms around him, kiss him, and say, I love you. Right? And we'd be fine. But if he was sitting on that couch, and I walked over and I put one arm on the arm of the couch and the other one across him on the back of the couch and tried to kiss him and tell him I loved him, he shut off, he got cold, he got like ugly, and it created a problem. And when I said, what the heck was that about? I don't know. If he would have said that to me, I don't know, I never would have known there was a solution. The solution to it was he felt trapped and no way out. Okay, so when I did that, he felt trapped and there was no way out, even though it was something as simple as I love you. I could say it any other way, other than with my hands on my hips. That never works good. But when I put my hand on the couch and my hand on the arm of the couch and was leaning across him to tell him I loved him, he felt trapped. So what is your trigger? I don't know. You do know. There is a trigger. And they will find that trigger when you communicate well. And then you find the solution to the trigger. Guess what? I don't trigger Carl anymore by I trigger him with other stuff, but not by putting my hand on the arm of the couch and my other hand on the couch. I don't do that anymore because I know it triggers him. So if he's sitting on the couch and I want to tell him I love him and I'm standing up, I walk over to the end of the couch, put both hands on the arm, and lean over and say, baby, I love you, and I'll give him a kiss. And now there's no trigger. We have a solution. We don't do that. We take our I don't knows, which we have a right to say. We either give them an answer that they don't want to hear, and we don't really know why we're doing it, or we don't really want to admit that we don't have the answer. We either do that, or we live with the I don't knows, and all of the stuff in the I don't knows stay on the problem list. We don't know it all. We're never going to know it all. But you have to actively look for the solution. Here's when I'm in my own dizzy, my life is falling apart, and the last thing I want to hear is my Richard loves me. I know he loves me, and that's true. And we tend to this is an important thing, and we'll talk about this next month when we go into love. We tend to think the words I love you is like some magical flipping band-aid. Right? So like I'll explode and vomit hate coming out of my mouth because I do that. It's in my repertoire of things I'm working on. And then when it's over and he feels about yo-ta because I have been so ugly, I'll be like, baby, I love you. And it's like, oh, well, like that's supposed to be a band-aid? No, it's not a band-aid. It doesn't fix anything. So, you have to, that is part of this communication stuff that we so fail at a lot of times. And it's not just with our veteran, it's with everybody. It's with everybody. Your boss comes in and says, why is this happening? I don't know. Find the solution. I remember one day I was working at the radio station, and we get a phone call, right, from the TV station that's just down the road. And they said, this is lovely, they said, was it your tower that got hit by the plane or was it ours? I'm like, I don't know. What plane? It seemed that there was some military planes on a training exercise, and they were playing around a little bit, and they flew too low, and the Warthog clipped the top of one of the two towers. Well, we had two towers out there, and they had a tower, and they were all within, really close. But one of the towers got hit. And so my initial response was I didn't know. So I hang up from them. I call our engineer. I'm like, hey, a plane's hit one of the three towers, taking the top off of the tower. We just got this phone call. We're trying to figure out whose it is. What do we need to do? And he says, I need you to go to the control rooms and pull the engineer stuff and look for the alarms. And of course it was our tower that got hit. But if I would have just said, I don't know, and left it alone and hung up and never called the engineer, we could still have the top 120 feet of that tower dangling by a transmission line. But we had to find a solution. We couldn't just say, I could tell them I didn't know because I didn't know. But I had to go look for the solution. Okay, I could have told them, wasn't our tower, we're on the air. Well, in radio, what you don't realize is that when you broadcast out, that signal goes out. So if you're sitting right there at that radio station, you're hearing the station on the air because you're hearing the signal going to the tower. And so I could be like, all of our stations are on. And they could do the same thing with the TV. All of our TV's on because it's coming from us to the tower. And we could have just said that and everybody blew it off. But we didn't. It was an I don't know, and then there was an action to follow it up to find out what was going on. And we have that right. We have that right to say, I don't know. We have that right to say, I don't have that answer today, but I'll look for it. I don't have that answer today, but we will find a solution. I don't have that answer today, and I may not be able to be the one to fix it, but we'll work together to find somebody who can. We have that right. We also have that responsibility to find the solution. Okay? To work together to find that solution. You can't just tell people, I don't know. That'd be like going into the doctor and the doctor looking at you and saying, oh, you have cancer today. Well, what are we going to do about it? I don't know. Have a nice day. Really? It's your, they're supposed to help you find that solution, right? So just sitting there saying, I don't know, have a nice day. What the heck is that? You need a solution. And that's where we have problems. You also think, a lot of us think we get mandatory instant solutions, and we don't. Sometimes we have to work for them. Sometimes we have to fight for them. Sometimes we have to keep digging till we get them. I know that if you have a veteran or anybody that is sick and you notice the changes going on, I know that Michelle struggles with this. I know that Kia struggles with it. I know that I struggle with it personally in my own health. You know, it would have been so easy to have blown off and said, oh, this was the cause. Well, it's still going on. Why isn't it fixed? Well, instead of saying, I don't know, my doctor was diligent and said, we're going to do some lab work. And that ended up resulting in the answers. Okay, so sometimes you don't know that answer, but you've got to be the advocate who fights and says, this isn't acceptable, we need more. This is not his normal behavior, I need more. Why is this and this and this happening? I need more. I don't know, coming from a doctor, coming from the VA, coming from whatever, that's not acceptable. You have to fight and put all the steps together and keep going forward till you have a solution. You may not like the answer to that solution, by the way. It may not be the solution you want to hear, but we can move forward when we know what the problem is and we have a path with which to go down. Right? She did. Michelle put her Wonder Woman pants on because she needed more. But you have to just, it would have been so easy for the doctor to say to Michelle, well, I don't know, why don't you take him home? Y'all sort it out. They did that once in October. She'd been sorting it out since then. And she finally said, we're done. This isn't working. I need an answer. Well, I don't know what it is. I don't care what you have to do. You test him everywhere from head to toe. He's had more scans, blood work. He's lucky if he even has blood left in him, but he's had all of that done because she wants an answer. Because I don't know is not acceptable in this situation. She doesn't have the answer. She knows something's not right. And she's not going to rest until they put her down a path of a solution. May not be the solution she wants to deal with, may not be the answer she wants to have, but she'll go through this journey regardless once she's given a path and not a whole lot of I don't know, you deal with it. And y'all think this, I'm kidding, this journey was so, at some point, they literally sent her home with medication and said titrate it to effect. Are you kidding me? It's not working. Well, just give him a little more. Well, what the heck is a little more? Oh, I don't know. That came from the doctor. I don't know. That came from the doctor. Just give him some until he doesn't act this way anymore. What the hell? Am I going to overdose it? Is it going to react with the other medicine? I don't know, but just give it to me. That was not an acceptable answer. That was not an acceptable I don't know. There were no solutions offered. And we do this all the time. We either say we have an answer that we don't, or when we say we don't know, we don't look for the solution. So yes, you have a right. The girl, yes, she has their attention and he definitely deserves it. And I am super proud of her. Today, Michelle is my hero. I have heroes all the time, but today, Michelle is my hero. She put her big girl panties on. Her bra went up 3 sizes because her balls dropped and they are proudly held up tight by her Victoria's Secret. And I'm so proud of her. She's my hero. But she didn't take I don't know as an answer without a solution. And that's where we all are. We have that right to say I don't know. But we have to find the solution, or it becomes a problem, and nothing more than a list of problems. It is so important to be honest, and we our veterans especially tend to think we have the answers to everything. They're kind of like our kids. Hell, my kids thought I could answer everything. We'd be riding down the road, right? And my kids would be acting up in the back seat. And I'd be like, David, what'd you hit your brother for? Mom, really? How can you see that? I have eyes in the back of my head. Yeah, he didn't know I had the visor down and was paying attention to the visor, but I wasn't telling him that at the time. How'd you see that, Mom? I don't know. I'm just good that way. And then as he grew up and became a teenager, he was on his way home from a football game and was at the only stoplight in our whole county, by the way. And he laid some drag. And he comes home and I'm like, hey, David, how was the game? Good. What'd you do afterwards? Oh, nothing. Just hung out with some friends. And I said, okay. Is that all? Yeah, that's it. And that's what he did. And I'm like, so who were you drag racing at the stoplight? Mom, how do you know I was doing that? I don't know, but I know it. I didn't dare tell him that the police officers, because I worked EMS, so they always called me and told me before he ever got home he wasn't a mile from the stoplight before I knew he was laying drag. But I wasn't going to tell him that. That was one of those times it was okay to have the I don't know syndrome going on. But I had the answer. The answer was the police officer called me. It was great. He never laid drag again, or at least never got caught doing it because I didn't know about it. But that's how life is. We don't always have the answers. And we don't get them from some magical place. My kids thought I was magical. I could see them hitting each other in the backseat of the car. They didn't know it was the mirror. They thought I was magical. I could find out they were laying drag. And they didn't realize it was from the police officer. Solutions. You can have the I don't knows, but you got to have the solutions. And you don't always have the answers. And that's okay. It's okay to accept the fact I don't have the answers. It's okay to accept the fact that you don't know it all. But it's not okay not to find a solution together. It's not okay not to find a solution together. And that's what happens. That's what happens in our life. We don't look for the solutions. We either say we can do it all because we're afraid to say we can't, or we say, I don't know, and we don't look for the solution, and then it becomes a problem. That's on us. That ball's in our court. You know, as we go through these journeys, and there's a lot of journeys we have to go down. You know, Michelle and I talked about this morning about enabling. And we don't realize that we enable behavior that we don't want. We don't realize, you know, we talk about our veteran having to change. We talk about PTSD controlling our lives. We talk about all these things, but what we fail to talk about is looking in the mirror and say, I'm an enabler today. And no, PTSD isn't the answer, the excuse for everything. And why he tries to use it as that excuse, I think a lot of times we do too. And that makes us enablers. And Michelle, we do. We evolve together with solutions only. You have to have solutions. They may not be the solutions you want, but if you don't, you become stagnant. And that is another huge thing that we see so often. You know, most of us are in multiple groups on here. Most of us talk to veteran spouses a ton. And the thing that I read that is heartbreaking to me is I've been in this same situation for the last 17 years. I'm thinking if I had been in the same situation I was in last year for 17 years, I would be batshit crazy. I would be batshit crazy if I was in the same situation I was in a year ago for 17 years. But when we enable and we don't change, we're going to be in that same solution. That same situation. I was not doing it for 17 years. I'm here to tell you. I would be nuts. Padded room, beat my head in the wall. Are things perfect with Carl? Absolutely not. But you tell me one relationship in this world that is perfect, and I'll tell you you're lying. Okay? One relationship in this world that is perfect, and I'll tell you you're lying. I mean, look at Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. They had more money than anybody. They were the perfect couple of this and that and that. There was nothing perfect about that relationship. In the beginning, all over everywhere, it was the perfect relationship. But it wasn't behind closed doors. There's no such thing. So we have to get that out of our head. We have to stop using PTSD as the answer and the excuse, or we become enablers. If you're stuck in the quicksand, are you really looking for a solution or an excuse? That's right. That's right. We have to stop doing that. We have to stop allowing that to happen. We have rights. Saying no is one. Saying that I don't know the answer is another. But if you say I don't know the answer and you don't look for a solution, you might as well say no. That's how life is. And not just with our veterans. And that, I think, is where we get so hung up sometimes, is we say, well, it's so hard with our PTSD. It is. I'm not lying to you. I'm not saying this is a walk in the park. I'm not saying this is a gravy thing. But I'm also telling you, I was married for 28 years to somebody who didn't have PTSD, and I assure you that wasn't a walk in the park. So is PTSD really the issue, or do we use it as the excuse not to get the things done we need to get done? Do we use it as the excuse to become the enabler? Yeah, when you have solutions, you're able to move forward with less resistance. Look, think about standing at the bottom of some big-ass ski hill that you want to ski down. Right? And you see all these skiers coming down and they're all having a good time, or you want to go up there to look at the view, right? But you realize it's like, I don't know, God knows how many feet up. And you sit there and you look at it and you're like, how the hell am I going to climb that? And we're so worried about climbing the hill. And we're looking ahead of us at that one path. Well, I really want to go up there, but I can't if we can get up there. Man, I bet you that view's beautiful. I can't get up there. Wow, that's a lot of steps for me to climb up there. I'll never make it there. And we're so busy looking straight up at the top of the hill that we don't look that to our right and there's a chairlift. Or there's a tram that will take us there and back. Because we're so focused on, I never do that. I'm never going to get out of this. My relationship is going to stay like this. It's been this way for 17 years. How am I going to get up there? Wow. Must be nice. Those people are so much better off than I am. Look to your right, there's a chairlift. Come on. We all have them. And the chairlift doesn't take you all the way to the top either. Just so you know, if you've ever skied a really, really, really tall mountain, it doesn't take you all the way to the top. It takes you part way, and then people can get off and go down the bunny slope, or you can get off and you can get on another chairlift to go up further, and then you can get off and ski down, or you can get on another chairlift and go all the way to the top. That's how it works in the real world, just in case you're interested. But when you're so busy focused on the thing in front of you that you don't have a solution for, you're never going to get there. You're going to be in this, I don't know. You have a right to say that. I don't know how to get to the top. I don't know how to get there. But if you don't look for a solution and just keep looking straight in front of you and realize you don't know how to get there, you're going to miss the chairlift to the right. And not using PT and XD as an excuse when you have comorbidity issues. There's other things in this life that coincide with the PTSD that create some of the problems. But y'all, we have that right to say we don't know. But we don't have a right not to look for the solutions. And I hope that today everybody looks for a solution. I hope that today everybody takes a minute out and starts looking at the solutions. What are they? And if you don't know, find somebody who can give you that answer. Find somebody who can point you in that direction. Find somebody to reach out to help you get to there. Because looking straight up and saying, I can't do it, you're never going to get there. Find your chairlift. Find your tram. Find how to get there. So that's where we are for today. Tomorrow, we have a right to make friends and feel comfortable around others. That's going to be great because our veterans close down so often that we feel like we lose our friends. We have that right. Newsletter is coming out today. There's a new post on the page. I'm going to finish that into the blog. And I'm really going to start writing more because I love that. And today's was Michelle and I were talking about it, and it was so interesting because it was so true. And where I'm talking about mine, Carl's story, she said, I relate to it. Danica, you got to use your resources. You have to use your resources. You have to put things out there and use what you got around you. Even if it is the crowbar to remove your closet door. To get the cat out. She'll understand. Y'all have a blessed day. There's just so much going on, and we are in such a place where we as a community will just uplift each other and get through our days. And that's what we're here for. We're here to get through our days. Y'all, thank you for being here. Thank you for loving your veteran. Thank you for loving yourself enough to be here. I'm Stacy. This is Walking in My Shoes, and we are loving my veteran. Y'all have a blessed day.